The Indian Miswalid and the Rage of Muslims of the World by Dr. A. Ahmed. This story is the continuation of the story of the Arab sugar daddy and the beautiful Indian girl, and the story of the Indian child bride and the old Arab husband. They were written in English and translated into Arabic by Dr. A. Ahmed. It is a love story narrated in 6 books. Book 3, From a Slum Girl to the Queen of the World Beauty. Copyright. All rights are reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, stored, a tribal system, or transmitted in any form or by enemies without the prior written permission of the author, except by the reviewer, who may quote brief passages from the review for general printing in a magazine, newspaper, school journal, or university article. All characters in this novel are fictional, and any resemblance to actual persons living or dead is purely coincidental. Chapter 51. The Fury of the Foreign Girl. Rahul's deceptive and discreet inquiries into the true identity of the so-called smelly burqa girl have not gone unnoticed by his jealous white girlfriend. Emily has already begun to suspect her boyfriend's resolve from the day she went with him to jail to visit his detained auntie. She suspected that Rahul may cover all bases and investigate all of Rani's claims about her adopted Muslim daughter. His American girlfriend has every motivation to prevent his interest in that direction. She has no illusions about her status. If the burqa girl turns out to be miswaled and has $100 million as her net wealth, if all of these realities are to materialize, she will be dropped like a hot potato, and her beloved Indian fiancé may not even remember her name in the future. Sadly, Emily has already noticed Rahul's increasing disinterest in her. He no longer bothers to go with her out and show her the beautiful places around the city of Baroda and its suburbs. He also no longer takes her to expensive restaurants and has refused to go out clubbing on the weekends. When she insisted they go out clubbing the following weekend, he told her to go alone if she wanted it. When she decided to go to the dance bar club all alone, she's shocked by her boyfriend's indifference. What troubled her even more is that he is perfectly aware that an unescorted young foreign girl like herself may be continually harassed by drunken Indian sexually frustrated males. Emily came to the reality that for a fact Rahul's priorities have changed. He is no longer interested in making love with her, and she has to beg and manipulate him to show any interest in sex at all. On a particular Saturday night, Emily went to the nightclub all alone and did not return until late afternoon the following Sunday. The nightclub was crowded by drunken young women and young men drunk as stones. While she was in the disco club, she drank so much alcohol as if she was drinking water. When she became like a dead drunk foreign female, she was lured by an African student who came from Nigeria to study at the University of Baroda. But in fact, he's a drug dealer. The Nigerian boy took advantage of her heavy intoxication by the strong Indian Daro liquor she consumed, took her to a cheap motel and fucked her up all night long. If she was not a blind drunk female, the broad American white girl wouldn't have shaken hands with such a black African boy who's as black as coals. On the following day, Emily was shocked and extremely terrified when she surfaced from her alcoholic comatose state and found herself bare naked on the bed with that African black boy. The Nigerian boy was too buck naked and snoring so loud as if he was crying through his big nose. A foul odor of liquor and sweat permeated it, and the windowless small room of the cheap motel, which made Emily think that she spent her night sleeping bare naked like a dog, and it is female doggy or a bitch in the sewer or a cesspool. She ran to the toilet and vomited a large quantity of the cheap liquor she drank last night. She then came out and quickly collected her scattered clothes and then swiftly put them on and fled, leaving her nameless sex partner to hibernate in his drunkenness and hideousness throughout the day and the following night. When she got back home, she expected a big fight with her jealous Indian boyfriend. She is surprised and saddened by his reaction or a lack thereof. He just looked at her blankly as though she was a female alien who came from another planet. He has not said a word of reproach or showed a fit of anger towards her. He did not even ask her where she had spent the night and with whom she slept. Likewise, Emily said nothing to him either and went directly to the bedroom and fell asleep. When she woke up, it was evening time and had already become dark outside. She came out of the bedroom into the living room, barefooted. She entered the living room without a sound while tiptoeing. Emily shocked to see her Indian boyfriend's phallus standing like a stick while he's naked and masturbating in front of his mother's computer. She saw that he was watching a video of a girl who was half naked in a swimsuit. She looked like a girl in a beauty contest. She immediately connected the dots and realized that they were both watching the same so-called dirty and smelly burqa girl who came to their apartment in America and made everything filthy. With her Indian boyfriend not caring if she is alive or dead, or if she had sex with another man, and also she could not succeed last time in actively stimulating Rahul to have sex with her. This final humiliation and deception drove her to hysteresis. Her anger blinded her, and reason left her. She picked up a chair made out of plastic, ran toward her boyfriend, and brought it down across the back of his head. Rahul, being struck, fell off his chair bleeding profusely. Emily jumped on top of his body, straddled him, and began to beat him left and right. Somehow Rahul managed to push his crazy white girlfriend off of him and stood up. Emily followed suit and started attacking and punching him again. Her boyfriend did not want to hit her body and tried avoiding her blows by restraining her. When Emily picked up another plastic chair and she also smashed it on his shoulder, he decided to fight back. It is now becoming a matter of life or death for him. He concluded that if he did not do something to control and subdue her, she would kill him for sure. He learned through a long experience when his American girlfriend becomes angry, she turns into a demon of uncontrollable rage. At first, Rahul did not hit his white girlfriend back because he thought that he was still in America. He knew that in Western countries, hitting a woman is a crime and a huge social faux pas. everyone will side with the female victim and the male aggressor will surely end up in jail. As the beating continued, with painful blues raining on his body, the sight of his own blood on her hands reminded him that he was no longer in America. After taking a few punches to the mouth, Rahul started to fight back and did not stop until he knocked her down. Although she had fallen, Emily continued to curse and berate her boyfriend, using every curse word that came into her mind, and her mouth shouted it out. Her Indian boyfriend tolerated her abusive backlash until his white girlfriend cursed his late mother, Lakshmi Patel. She said to him, "Your mother is a fucking bitch and a black witch who gave birth to a trash boy like you." Something in him snapped out and he started it to pummel her senselessly. Emily started screaming at the top of her lungs to the point where Rahul paused his frenzied attack. He has not stopped because he is afraid of the Indian police. Rather, he knows that in India, a man may be killed by his neighbors if he caught beating a woman, no matter who is wrong. The angry white girlfriend Emily is not wanting to give up. The moment the beatings stopped, she reached up, pulled him by his shirt, and sank her sharp teeth into his face. He tried grabbing her shoulder, pushing her away, and pulling her by her hair, hoping to dislocate her mouth from his cheek. Nothing seemed to unclamp her hold on him. She is like a piranha or a bisky mosquito out for sucking human blood. Being the stronger one, he bunched her on the side of the head and eventually managed to beat her down again. He fell on top of her, only to have to deal with her flaying legs. Rahul took stock of the situation and decided that he should flee for dear life. He managed to run to his mother's bedroom and lock himself inside. Emily chased after him and started banging on the bedroom door, daring him to come out and fight with her like a brave man. Rahul told her that he was not going to come out until she left his mother's house and got out of his life forever. Emily threatened to go to the police and complain about the brutal way he beat her up. Rahul tells her to go to the police or go to hell. In either case, he does not care. He further told her that she is no longer his girlfriend and he has no interest in being with her anymore. He irritated her more by adding that he is going to respect the will of his beloved late mother and marry his rich female cousin, Miss Well-lit Aphrodite Krishna Khan. This did not have the desired effect, and instead of his opponent giving up and raising the white flag of surrender, Rahul's open confession only intensified the war of jealousy. Not only he has been caught red-handed masturbating to a Miss Well-lit video, but he is also now going to marry her. If the bedroom door is not locked, the American girlfriend might have killed her Indian boyfriend. She knew that he was not likely to open the door and come out and face her. So Emily decided to go to the police and nail him with a charge of domestic violence and beating a defenseless foreign girl. She decided to send him to jail for daring to raise his hand to her. She has bruises and lacerations all over her body from her encounter with him. Having decided to play the role of the assault victim, Emily left the house and stopped the ferry's taxi driver that came her way. She asked the driver to take her to the nearest police station. The taxi driver became shocked and frightened when he saw her tongue closing, bruising on her face and blood everywhere on her body and clothes. He's afraid the white girl may die in his taxi and implicate him in a murder crime. He lost no time in getting her there to the nearest police station. Chapter 52. Mother Chut. Or your mother's pussy. At the police station, the American girlfriend complained that someone has raped her and tried to kill her. She neglected to mention that the person is her Indian boyfriend and that she has equally battered him. She thought the Indian police may not take her complaint seriously if she said that she got raped by her Indian boyfriend. When she was in the States, she heard that in the third world, raping a wife or a girlfriend by her husband or a lover is not a crime, but a right granted by law to the man. Therefore, the American girlfriend, Emily, decided to get the Indian boy Rahul into trouble with the law by claiming that he has beaten her up and brutally raped her in his house. As soon as she filed her complaint, the police inspector in charge sent out a police truck full of cops. He ordered them to arrest the evil male suspect and bring him in, cuffed and restrained by fetters on his hands and legs. When the policeman came back after less than half an hour, along with the so-called dangerous Indian criminal boy, the police inspector could not believe his eyes. Then the police inspector told Emily that since he had joined the police force as a young police cadet, he had never seen someone beaten up to this extent. At first, he saw that Rahul was attacked by his angry neighbors for beating up his white girlfriend. However, his officers told him none of the neighbors were present at the crime scene, and they found the front door of the home open and Rahul was locked in a bedroom, afraid to come out and face his angry white girlfriend. It took them 10 minutes to convince him she was not there before he opened the door. The furniture is broken everywhere, like there had been a big fight, and there was blood leading to the bedroom where they found Rahul, a bloody mess, hiding like a mouse, chased by a dangerous cat which wanted to eat him up if he opened the door for her. He told them his white girlfriend attacked him for no reason at all. He guessed it maybe she was mad because he did not want to go out drinking with her on a weekend. When the police inspector questioned Emily about what had happened, she tried to wriggle her way out of it by saying he was driven to violence because she caught him having computer sex with a smelly burqa girl on the internet. The police inspector confronted Emily with the first statement she filed. He said to her, "In your first statement, you claim that you have been beaten up and raped by someone, and now in your second statement, you say that you started beating on your Indian boyfriend because you caught him having cyber sex with a Muslima girl in a black burqa in front of his computer while masturbating to her sexy image." When she could not justify her two contradictory statements, the police inspector refused to arrest her badly battered Indian boyfriend. He decided to send both of them to the hospital for treatment and considered the matter a domestic dispute between lovers. He told them that they could solve their dispute in a small claims court. But Emily insisted that her boyfriend should be arrested for beating her. Nonetheless, the inspector said it is a case of mutual combat and there is insufficient evidence either way. He refused to arrest Rahul because he had far more serious matters to attend to. Moreover, he saw the Indian boy had been more beaten than he had battered his white girlfriend. Rahul accepted the fair decision of the police inspector and was taken in a police car to the hospital. The foreign girl, on the other hand, is far from satisfied and refuses to leave the police station and continues to argue and fight with the police inspector. She accused him of taking sides with her Indian boyfriend. When the Indian policeman remained unmoved by her allegations and inexpressive, she began to curse him out, which made him very angry. He jumped up from his desk and threatened to lock her up if she did not leave immediately. Emily hit the table with her fist and yelled a phrase in Hindi and called him Mother Chut. This phrase can be translated as your mother is a fucking whore or I'll fuck your mother's pussy. An Indian may kill you if you call him Mother Chut or a Bahan Chut, which means I fuck your mother's vagina and stick my penis in your sister's pussy. The American girl Emily had learned that particular bad Hindi phrase from her boyfriend Rahul and knew what it meant. The police inspector had become extremely angry and therefore he got up from his chair and slapped the white girl in the face. Emily retaliated with a slap of her own and hit him in his cheek. The police inspector had never heard of any police officer being slapped inside a police station before, and that too by a woman. His police officers stationed nearby have been startled. They expected their boss either to strangle the white bitch to death or shoot her in the head and kill her. Howbeit, he is understandably angry. Somehow he has controlled his rage. He feigned a smile at her and instructed one of his police officers to place her under arrest for assaulting a senior officer of law enforcement in his duly appointed position. He has mentioned in his report that she has called him in Hindi Mother Chut, and also she has dared to slap him in front of his policemen. Emily remained in lockup for 2 hours. She received no medical treatment for her injuries during that time. While her injuries are not life-threatening, the pain is acute. In the beginning, she resisted arrest and demanded to be allowed to go to the hospital for treatment. The police inspector is still seizing with the humiliation and embarrassment of being assaulted verbally and physically in front of his officers by a woman, ignored her request and kept her in detention until late evening. At 8 o'clock, she is told that she is going to be transferred to the Baroda Women's Jail. When she reminded the new police inspector in charge of her injuries and her need to be sent to the hospital, he told her that the women's jail has medical facilities and a duty nurse. The senior officer she had insulted it and she had also physically assaulted him had already finished his shift and left for his home. Emily believed the new police inspector and followed a couple of Indian cops to their police car. The American girl does not know that she has been kidnapped until the police car starts to speed up to 120 kilometers per hour, driving out of the city. Once she saw the lights of the city fading away, Emily asked the cops where they were taking her. Both of the cops pretended to be poor in English and ignored her questions. Nevertheless, Emily continued to talk to them in English and demanded to know where they were taking her. When neither of them answered her question, she began to scream at them. The cops made fun of her in Hindi because they knew that she was restrained and unable to do anything but rant and scream. When her shouting does not get the desired response, Emily begins to jerk her body violently. Her antics made them poke fun at her even more, and they began to laugh hysterically. By now, the American girl Emily has to come to the unavoidable result that her two abductors will take her to a secluded place, rape her, or kill her, or do to her both. She tried everything she could to change the course of events, but to no avail. Chapter 53. The cruel punishment of the American girl. The foreign girl, Emily, regretted ever going to the police station. The event she is about to face will be a million times more fatal and bitter to her life than her Indian boyfriend using her as a punching bag. She realized that she could do absolutely nothing to prevent what was going to happen to her. There is nothing she can do now to stop these evil Indian scums from climbing atop her body, emptying their semen in her private parts, then brutally murdering her. If she has a gun and her hands are free, she may have shot herself in the head, and she then has ended it all. Emily is an atheist, and for her, God has never been real. Yet that day, she found herself praying endlessly for the first time, asking God for deliverance and help. She even invoked the name of Jesus Christ. After an hour's drive, the police car lurched off the highway into a roughly hewn country lane. Emily began to bounce around in the rear of the car, which is devoid of seats, hitting and sliding into practically every hard projection in the passenger compartment. She began to scream when her body started hitting the roof of the small vehicle, and when it rolled to a stop, she found herself having fallen head over heels and somewhat sluggish by the repeated hits. She has turned her body upside down. Her abductors have flipped her around before they come out. The cops emerged from the car and then forcibly dragged her by her feet out like an animal. Emily thought her time had come. She continued to scream and beg them to spare her life. She decided to choose the lesser of the two evils confronting her, and hence she began to bargain with her kidnappers. On her knees, she began to plead with them. Please, please, I will give you whatever you want. Just please do not harm me. Okay, if you want to rape me, I will not say anything, but please do not kill me. I promise I won't tell anyone or press any charges against you. Shut up, dirty chutia, or a filthy pussy. What did you say to our police inspector, Mother Chut? Shouted one of the two cops. Emily saw that the Indian cops did indeed speak good English. I'm sorry, sir. It was a mistake and I was angry. They did not punish my boyfriend for hitting me. I promise I will never do that again. Please do not kill me. I told you I would give you whatever you want if you want to have sex with me. Just please do not harm me. Have sex with you, Chutia? Dirty pussy, shouted the same cop while laughing at the top of his voice. Your pussy is as big as a whale. Who wants to have sex with your big, dirty pussy? You started it opening your vagina to every man from the age of 12. How many penises have you opened your legs wide open for and allowed them to fuck you? Your cunt is so big you can fuck a leg of a man. Who wants to fuck a big pussy like that? Emily had never been insulted by those filthy words in all her life. She feigned ignorance and continued to barter for a compromise. Whatever you want, I will do it. Please, even if you want to insert it in my mouth or do it in the back of my ass, I will not say anything. Just please do not kill me. I don't want to die. We can get a 16-year-old virgin Indian girl tonight if you want to have sex, said the other cop. Why should we go for a white woman whose pussy and anus are as big as the mouth of a wall when we have all the young, beautiful Indian girls we can choose from them? We have not brought you here because we want to fuck you or kill you. We want to teach you a lesson that you will remember all your life. We want to show you what we do to a woman who calls our boss Mother Chut, and a dirty hooker like you that dare to slap a senior Indian police officer of the law and defy the authority and laws of our nation. Emily has been surprised when she heard that the cops do not want to rape her or kill her. Now she can only wonder what kind of punishment they have in store for her. What can be crueler than rape and murder? She stopped her protest and squirmed around, thinking that basic compliance put her in a better position to escape being harmed by her kidnappers. The two cops continued their snickering and gave nothing away. She just has to wait and see what her punishment will be. At first, the two Indian cops tried to undress the white girl, but the ropes around her legs and hands made that exceedingly difficult. So they made her lie on her stomach and then sat on her. One sat on her back and the other one on her legs. The policeman who is sitting on her back untied her hands. Then he pulled off her t-shirt. The other one removed the ropes from her legs and eased off her jeans. Emily now wondered whether the assurance they had given her earlier was just to trick her into being docile. Why do they want to undress her unless they are going to rape her? She remains quiet because she knows that she is entirely at their mercy. After removing her shirt and jeans, one of them ripped off her bra and the other removed her black underwear. She is now naked in the humid, fetid night air, lying naked on the ground as if she has been shot and seriously wounded. After that, the cops stood up and ordered her to follow suit. One of them collected all her clothes and looked at her for some time, evaluating his canvas. After that, he brought her close to his face and smelled them. He then removed them quickly from his face. He covered his nose and remarked it to his partner. She smells like a dead rat. I wonder how that stupid Indian boy fucks her and sleeps with her at night on the same bed. I can't sleep at night if such a funky girl is lying beside me in bed. I rather prefer to sleep with a corpse of an Indian girl than with this stinky white bitch. She smelled like the decomposed body of a zombie girl who has been dug out of her grave. The other cop said to his colleague, if her stinky clothes smell like a dead rat, you can imagine what her big ass and pussy smell like. They must stink and smell like a sewer plant. She is like a public washroom that allows every man's dick to urinate inside her cunt. Emily had never felt so much insulted and humiliated before, like this one. If she had a gun, she may not hesitate to shoot both of them. Having neither a gun nor an advantage over them, she just remained silent and hoped for the best. Then the one who collected her clothes started to climb a tall tree. When he reached the uppermost branches, he hung her black underwear on the branches of the tree and came down. After that, he climbed up another tall tree and did the same with her white bra. Oddly, he retained her shirt and jeans. Then he said seriously, listen, stinky girl, we call this place the lion jungle. It has lions and tigers and many other wild animals. If you want to survive until morning, then you must climb up a tree and hide from those wild beasts. There are many poisonous snakes and scorpions too. The other cub said cynically, there is a kind of poisonous snake in this place called Indian cobra, and if it bites you, it will turn you from a white girl into a black girl. When your family claims your corpse, they will probably think that you are a niggeress. His colleague gave Emily another piece of advice. Don't waste your time. Start climbing right away. The moment we leave, you are fresh meat for the lions and tigers. You are going to regret not taking our advice. By then it will be too late. Do not try to run after our car or venture out alone in this dangerous place. Just stay in your tree and sit there until morning. It should be safe to come down then. Emily still does not believe that the Indian cops are not interested in harming her. They probably are not going to rape her, but they are planning something horrid. She cannot believe that human beings can be so cruel to the extent of thinking up such an extreme punishment for what a minor hysterical episode is simply. She knows that she cannot spend a minute alone in the jungle with the danger of wild beasts looming all around her. It is like nothing that she has experienced before. All sorts of thoughts are running through her head. The moment she noticed the two cops leaving her and heading toward their car, she started to run after them. She pleaded for mercy and clemency. She implored them not to abandon her in the middle of nowhere. Before she could reach them, they entered the police vehicle and drove away. She chased their car for a few minutes before she gave up. As the lights of the car recede into the distance, she gradually immersed in a sea of darkness, and her vision starts to glaze over with a darkness she is not accustomed to. Her heart is beating so loudly that she can Here it is beats. She's sweating profusely like her body raining hot acid or boiling water. She tried to cry, but she lost her voice. She wants to throw up, but she cannot. Her stomach is empty since she has not eaten anything since last night in the dancing club. She is feeling nauseous. She does not want to faint and allow her body to be bitten by poisonous snakes and her blood to be sucked by millions of mosquitoes and other billions of bloodsuckers. He decided to do everything to keep herself awake until morning. Chapter 54. The White Tarzan Girl in the Scary Jungle of India. The abandoned American girl began to panic and tremble. She had never been so frightened before as today. She had developed a strong phobic fear of darkness from early childhood. She cannot spend a single hour alone in a place at night. Sometimes she could not go to the toilet to be alone in Rahul's late mother's house until she woke up her Indian boyfriend and asked him to take her there and wait by the door until she came out. So, such a scary cat girl, how can she spend a night all alone in a dark jungle full of dangerous creatures? From the increasingly hungry mosquitoes to the rivulets of sweat trickling off her naked body, she is acutely aware of all her discomfort in what is open season. Only she is the game being hunted by wild beasts. With her eyes darting around, Emily remembered the warnings she had been given by her abductors. The two Indian policemen had specifically told her about poisonous snakes and dangerous wild beasts. Alarmed by the idea of being bitten by a venomous snake or mauled by a voracious wild animal, he decided that climbing up a tree was her best option. She had no other way of escape. She had no other way of escaping from her looming danger, but sadly, she had never climbed a tree before. The tree trunk is rough and makes it hard for her to climb. Moreover, being naked left her body with even more scrapes, lacerations, and cuts than she has ever had in her life. She hated herself and hated the day she was born. She had never expected to be degraded to such a lower level in life. She regretted her decision to follow her fucking Indian boyfriend to his rat-infested country. The land is full of police crooks and other lustful jerks she met in the dance nightclub. She now knew and understood that whatever she had done to prevent him from forsaking her and marrying an Indian girl was completely futile. She has lost him today, and now she probably has to bear with her life for her bad decision in life. The extremely frightened American girl somehow managed to climb a tree at a painfully slow rate, continually sleeping. Nearly the top of the tree, she found a reasonably strong branch that could support her weight and clutched it like a female monkey hanging between heaven and earth. She hoped that it is high enough. It took her only moments to realize that she may not be able to stay awake throughout the night, clutching a branch. She is feeling damn tired and very sleepy. She slept less than 3 hours in Rahul's house on Sunday afternoon because the black African boy, who's as black as the coal, did not allow her to sleep for long in the windowless room of the cheap motel. He kept raping her tired body and keeping her awake throughout the night until he fell asleep on top of her alcoholic, saturated body. In the early hours of Sunday morning, and began to snore. Her survival is now depending on her ability to stay awake until morning. Falling asleep means sliding off the branch and with her luck landing on a snake or a wild beast. That is, if the fall does not kill her first. Emily felt a little more relieved to be out of reach of the snakes and tigers and other wild beasts. But now she has to deal with the myriad of insects feasting on her naked white flesh. Without a stitch of clothing on her, she began to suffer bites of the leeches all over her body. She cannot effectively fend them off for fear of losing her balance, and the sheer mass of ravenous insects is slowly driving her insane. She knows that if she falls at such a height, she will probably be looking at a broken neck. Emily has never exhibited in her life to sink into such deplorable state. She is naked and wounded, and her body is full of bruises and cuts. Her naked flesh is tortured by millions of insects and other bloodsuckers. With a sword of Damocles hanging over her head, her heart is bounding out a frantic rhythm that only she can hear in her head. Strangely enough, she found herself wishing that the two evil cops return back and get rid of her with a bullet fired from a close range. At her either heart or her head. She will gladly give her body to be killed than have to deal with being eaten alive by mosquitoes and other bloodsuckers. Once again, the former atheist girl Emily remembered God and prayed from her heart for a merciful death or a miracle rescue. If she knows how to break her neck and make sure she is dead, he may have given it a try. For all her medical training as a medical student, she now asked the Almighty God for euthanasia rather than to have to attempt suicide. She is afraid of dying a painful death. She just wishes to die peacefully and quickly. In such a desperate situation and scary jungle, the white girl Emily remembered the evils she had done against that innocent Muslim burqa girl who came to seek shelter and protection in their apartment in the States. She made her sleep one night in a garage and another night in the kitchen. She did not give her food for more than 24 hours. If it was not for Rahul, who begged her to give the unwanted burqa girl some bread and eggs to eat, Emily might have made the Muslima girl starve to death. She refused to allow her to sleep in the living room or her dog's bedroom. He said to her Indian boyfriend that her dumb little brute doggy is better than the smelly burqa girl. Therefore, instead of helping her, she accused her falsely of being a dangerous Muslim terrorist and sent her behind bars forever. After remembering the evils she had done to the Muslim girl Amrita Khan, the ex-atheist American girl Emily has repented of her sins and wept and asked God to forgive her. She asked her Lord not to punish her for her many sins and rescue her life. She felt a heavy weight had been lifted from her chest, and her conscience was not troubling her any longer. Shortly after her second earnest prayer to God and sincere repentance and opening her eyes again, the American girl Emily saw a dim light in the distance. It appears to her like a light from a hut in the jungle. The fear of wandering around in the presence of wild beasts and poisonous snakes and scorpions kept her firmly rooted in her roost and high branch. Wherever that light, the white, frightened girl knows she cannot take the risk and go to that hut and seek help. When the lights appeared to grow bigger and draw closer, she realized that they were car lights coming her way. She waited until she was positive about what she was seeing before shimming down her tree of life, losing even more skin in the process than climbing up, gritting her teeth and handing her tongue, bearing the pain, while her tears were falling like rain on her cheeks and naked body. She made it to the ground and hit the ground running, closing the distance between her and the oncoming light. She is not only naked, but barefooted. She felt the stones cutting her bare feet and giving her terrible pain. Still, she kept on running toward the approaching vehicle. She had forgotten the warning of the two Indian policemen because self-preservation is driving her. Poisonous snakes and wild beasts are damning. Emily came out of the wilderness at exactly the right time. She ran at the speed of light, and her speed might be counted as a sort of a record. If she's in a record, if she is in a jungle marathon in the States, she emerged out of the jungle stark naked, and her body was latticed with scratches and jungle rubble. The driver of the truck, superstitious as they all are, can be forgiven for expecting to see any kind of strange animal or a ghost at that late hour of the night. However, he is not prepared to encounter Tarzan's female counterpart with no loin clothes around her private parts. The white female creature that suddenly materialized in front of him looked wild-eyed and deranged. Her hair is disheveled, and her features are hard and twisted. She is having scratches and is covered in blood and scabs. The driver can see her two boobs dangling in front of her chest as if they are two small white balloons full of water. Her black pubic hair concealed her vagina, and her big buttocks shook like two white sacks of grains, and she's doing jumping jacks and dancing in circles, trying to get his attention as if that is even necessary. She looked like a slaughtered chicken that danced in pain without having its severed neck. If the driver had not stiffened up in fear, keeping down his frozen food on his truck brake, he probably would have run her over in his truck and tried to get away from the ghostly apparition of a white female demonic creature. Emily saw that the driver saw her and stopped his truck to pick her up. Without bothering to explain her bizarre situation or asking his permission, she ran to the passenger side, pulled the door of the truck open, and jumped in beside the dumbstruck Indian man. Emily felt happy and overjoyed. She even shouted, "Hallelujah!" and praised the Lord. She felt as if God Himself had come down from heaven in His chariot of fire to rescue her from Satan, the devil, or the fear-breathing dragon. She knew that a few minutes ago, when she had closed her eyes in earnest and prayed to God while she was clutching to her tree of life, He heard her plea and sent down His angel to rescue her. She closed her eyes and offered a short prayer of thanksgiving to our Lord Jesus Christ, and then looked excitedly at the frightened Indian driver. He does not seem to understand English, and his silence led her to assume that he only speaks Hindi. It took the driver a few minutes to come back to his senses. He knows that a white female creature has climbed into his truck. She is now sitting beside him, and he can do nothing to eject her out of the passenger seat. If he saw an Indian female naked, he may think she had quarreled with her husband during sex and ran away from their hut because her madman wanted it to slay her for not allowing him to satisfy his lust. But to see a fully naked white girl without her white Tarzan male counterpart and the fur of a lion or a tiger around her thighs and buttocks is something beyond his imagination. His childhood frame of references is filled with tales of demons and ghosts and the many evil they can bring with them. He tried to remember what it was he had been told by his late grandmother to do to protect himself in such a difficult situation, but his mind drew blank. He heard that Satan could transform himself into any kind of earthly creature. For that reason, he concluded that the buck-naked white female sitting in his truck is for sure a satanic manifestation of sorts. He is afraid that if he attempted to kick her out of his truck or fight her off, she may slap him with her left hand and turn him into a white monkey or an ugly red pig or worse, transforming into a ghost like her. So he concludes that the worst thing to do in a difficult situation like this is to either try to appease the naked white satanic female or pretend as if no one is there. After coming to a wise conclusion, the extremely frightened Indian driver let go of the brake and began to drive his truck again, hoping that the satanic female may disappear before he reached the city. Chapter 55. She has been used as and flushed as if she's a toilet paper. In the meantime, the former lover of the American girl has spent one night in the hospital receiving proper treatment and staying under observation. The hospital authority told Rahul he had no legal charge laid against him. Discharged the following morning, he left and headed home. Upon his arrival, he hurriedly packed up his bags and left the house of his late mother. When he reached the house gate, he wrote an exceedingly long letter to his white girlfriend Emily. In his note, the ex-boyfriend has informed her that he is flying back to America and that their friendship is over. He advised her not to look for him and to consider his decision as final and unchangeable. He has already decided to marry the girl his beloved late mother and the innocently imprisoned auntie have chosen for him as a suitable Indian bride. He also mentioned that he is going to the States to meet with the FBI and inform them that the burqa girl is not a female terrorist. He wrote in his note that he has obtained official documents from the government of India and the two lawyers to prove that the detained extremely beautiful girl Aphrodite Krishna Khan is the current reigning Miss India, Miss Walid, and a famous Bollywood actress. He is going to show those documents to the American FBI agents who are detaining her and also confess to the American police that his former white girlfriend Emily had falsely accused her of terrorism due to jealousy and lack of security. His former American girlfriend did that because the imprisoned Muslim girl was a million times prettier than her and tough competition for her friendship with her Indian boyfriend. As soon as his Indian fiancée is released from jail, he is going to marry her and take her to another big American city, and the two of them shall live happily ever after. He also mentioned in his termination note that he is going to keep Emily's American passport, air ticket, bags, and whatever money is left for her with his mother's lawyer. He concluded his note by telling her to go to the lawyer's office and collect her travel documents and effects. Lastly, he stated she should neither look for him nor dream of winning his heart again. His heart is now and will be forever occupied by his fiancée and future Indian bride, Mrs. Walid, the richest girl in India and the popular Bollywood celebrity, Aphrodite Krishna Khan. After leaving the house, Rahul went to his mother's lawyer and gave him the items of his white girlfriend, Emily, to hold in trust. He told him that he was flying to America for urgent matters and he would return to India in a few months. After that, Rahul revisited his detained auntie Rani Krishna for the third time in the woman's jail. He apologized to her for wrongly accusing her. After his mother's sister had accepted his apologies, Rahul told her that he had done a thorough search on the internet and checked the documents held by her lawyer. He has found out everything that she had said about her daughter is true. Then he told her that he had broken off his relationship with his white girlfriend Emily. After that, Rahul told his auntie briefly how her daughter came to be in jail and who is the wicked girl behind her arrest. He put the entire blame on his American girlfriend Emily. Finally, he said that he was returning to America to speak to the FBI police agents and confess that the suspected Muslim girl Aphrodite Krishna Khan was innocent and that his former American girlfriend Emily had falsely accused her of involvement in a a terrorist activity out of jealousy. Although Rahul has not confessed to his auntie that his primary interest in her adopted Muslim girl is motivated by selfish and self-serving interests, the shrewd Indian woman Rani Krishna was able to read between the lines. Even so, she understood every young Indian man in his place would be crazy after a Miss World who has a net worth of over $100 million. Before she sent him with her blessings, Rahul specifically wanted her. Before she sent him with her blessing, Rani Krishna specifically wanted her nephew Rahul Patel not to allow her daughter Aphrodite Krishna Khan to return to India. Irrespective of what may happen to her, he is to ensure that she does not return to Mumbai. Her final instruction is for him to keep Aphrodite with him until she comes to America and never tries to violate her chastity and defile her body like what he had done with his promiscuous white girlfriend Emily, until her daughter has become his lawful bride through a recognized relationship and their marriage conducted by a Hindu bandit. In that, the strict Indian mother, Rani Krishna, said to Rahul Patel in plain words, "If you are interested in marrying my beautiful daughter Aphrodite Krishna Khan, and if she agrees to marry you, then you should neither touch her body nor marry her until me, her mother, reach America and give her to you in a lawful marriage." Rahul responded to his auntie by saying, "I am more than interested in marrying her. I have already fallen in love with Aphrodite, and I will marry no other girl else except her, and I will be eagerly waiting for your arrival and our happy marriage." When she heard her sister's Hindu son saying his acceptance of marrying her adopted Muslim daughter, Rani Krishna felt exceedingly pleased, blessed her late sister's son, and then sent him on his overseas trip to the USA with the blessing of 330 million of the Hindu gods and goddesses. In the meantime, the Indian truck driver who picked up the naked white daughter of Satan is arrested as soon as he reaches the first police checkpoint on the highway. He has been detained under the charge of kidnapping, raping, and imprisoning an innocent foreign girl. None of the policemen at the checkpoint can speak English. Emily has tried to prevent her savior from being arrested, but her pleadings and explanations are useless. Who is going to believe that the poor soul is her savior and guardian angel rather than her kidnapper and rapist? Upon questioning, the truck driver narrated how he came across a naked white girl like Tarzan female in the middle of the jungle. Obviously, in this case, fact being stranger than fiction. He has been brutally arrested. The policemen provided the white girl with an old blanket and showed her how to cover up her nakedness. Emily understood the kind concern of the cops, used the blanket as a sari and dupatta, and somehow managed to cover almost all of her exposed breasts, buttocks, thighs, and other private parts. After that, the miraculously rescued white girl, along with the detained truck driver, are escorted in a police car and sent to the city's main police headquarters for further investigations. At police headquarters, the naked white girl was given the second-hand At police headquarters, the naked white girl was given the second-hand clothes of a dead female suspect who got killed during the harsh interrogation beatings, and her naked corpse was burned to ashes by the police authority. Emily agreed to put on the silver kameez and dupatta of the dead female suspect, but she refused to use her underwear. She said she is scared to contract a sexually transmitted disease. Then the American girl cleared the truck driver from the charges of kidnapping and raping her. After that, she made a formal complaint against the two Indian policemen who kidnapped her from the police station. The American girl used hundreds of Western phrases and legal jargon in her statement. She intended to make them obey to the fullest extent of the law. She claimed mental abuse, mental trauma, emotional torture, physical abuse, verbal abuse, physical assault of a defenseless woman, gender discrimination, molestation, sexual exploitation, exposing her to imminent danger, excessive use of violence, abuse of authority, premeditated murder, xenophobia, violation of women's rights, etc., etc., etc. The police inspector who's writing down her complaint had never heard of those crimes in his life, and hence he understood none of them. It took him a long time to find in his dictionary the proper spelling of those high English phrases. Even so, after patiently entering those claims in her official police statement, he asked her a straightforward question and expected the answer to be in the affirmative. Did they beat you or rape you, ma'am? He's shocked when Emily says, no. Therefore, he doubted the entire kidnapper rape scenario. He could not believe that two Indian policemen would take a young woman out of the city, strip her naked, and then take her clothes and shoes and leave her to sleep up a tree with wild beasts in the jungle. He concluded that the white American girl had probably taken a dose of hallucinogenic drugs 12 or so hours before questioning. The effect of this caused her to strip off her clothes, run away from her hotel, and leave her ugly African black sex partner asleep in the cheap motel. She eventually ended up on her drug-fueled night in the jungle, where the driver found and rescued her. After giving her strange and unbelievable statement, Emily is asked to name the police station she was detained in, the police inspector who locked her up, the two policemen who allegedly kidnapped her, took her to the jungle, stripped her naked, stole her clothes and shoes, and left her fully naked to be eaten alive by wild beasts. She said that she does not know any of their names. She said further that she could only give description of the policemen. Once she gave that description, the police inspector made fun of her and told her that the description she gave could fit any Indian man, even him. Emily cannot even name the police station where she went to complain about her Indian boyfriend Rahul Patel, who brutally beat her and raped her in his mother's house. Without any discernibly intelligent answer from her, which may lead to the identification of her alleged kidnappers and abusers, the police inspector made the charges against two unknown Indian policemen. The American girl once again became extremely upset when she learned that the local courts may in all probability dismiss her complaints about lack of evidence. She is also reminded that the backlog of cases may probably stretch out the final verdict of her case, if any, to more than a year. Once again, Emily is tempted to hit the table with her fist and said to the police inspector, "Mother chut or a bahan chut, your mother pussy or a sister pussy," and slap him on his face. But experience has taught her in no uncertain terms that the Indian police are not to be messed with. The white girl has been boiling over the last 24 hours, still nursing the need to take out her anger on someone. She headed it back to her Indian boyfriend's house so that she could vent to him. She is yearning to tell him what had happened to her because of him, and then she must beat him up all over his body again. This time she learned her lesson. She decided after their second fight she must forsake the formality of making another police report of physical assault and brutal rape against him and simply send him to the hospital with a permanent disability, or send him to the grave behind his black witch and dirty bitch late mother, Lakshmi Patel. Ironically, Emily understood that the only person who may be able to help her identify her kidnappers and the former police station would be Rahul. First, she wants to find out from him the name and address of the police station he was taken to after the former deadly fight. Then she knew that her next step would be to go to that police station and find out the name of the police inspector who had locked her up. Through him, she expected to find out the names of the two wicked Indian policemen who took her to the jungle, tortured her, and abused her, stripped her clothes, and left her to be eaten alive by wild beasts. Sadly, all the wind went out of her sails when the angry American girl reached the house of the late Mrs. Lakshmi Patel. She found the termination note and read it with tears falling from her red eyes like hot acid on her swollen white cheeks. She bristled with uncontrollable rage, wondering what to do next. In her anger, she knew that if he happened to be standing in front of her, she would flay his skin alive and roast him over an open flame. With her boiling anger inside her chest like hot water in a tea kettle, she vowed that if she does not get hold of him while in India, she should pursue him to the very ends of the earth to get satisfaction and revenge for him, allowing those two dirty scums of Indian policemen to abuse her to that incredible punishment. Nevertheless, the letter from Rahul has opened Emily's eyes to a sad reality. She realized that she had to come to terms with the fact that her Indian trip was a total disaster. Although she had quarreled with her boyfriend and filed charges against him, she had not expected that their quarrel would end their long association. She saw that it was a mere lust that led her boyfriend to masturbate while watching the video of Miss Welly. She has expected him to come back to his senses, repent, and apologize to her after he has realized his mistake. His termination letter felt like a poisonous dagger inserted in her bleeding heart, and exactly what she had feared would happen if he returned to India unaccompanied has occurred with her presence. Even her presence could not stop her Indian boyfriend from forsaking her and going for the new Miss Welly. Eventually, the American girl, Emily, realized that her Indian boyfriend, all that time they spent together, was just using her to satisfy his lust. She felt as if she is a wad of used toilet paper used by her Indian boyfriend to satisfy his insatiable lust and clean his dirty penis and stinky anus. And then he has just flushed her out of his life, just like she is his urine and feces, and that he has flushed her inside the toilet of his late mother, Mrs. Lakshmi Patel.